The custom KYC solution.
Yes, we did. We have to because, even the market providers don't necessarily provide KYC in, for example, regions that are really small or have a smaller market because most of the KYC providers are, profit driven. Building the infrastructure for a specific small region really costs a lot for those businesses. But for Pi, in order to really achieve inclusivity, we have to provide KYC solution to all regions where our pioneers exist. So we designed innovatively this design that's scalably to cover all geolocations while at the same time not, costing out of pocket.
So this is super interesting to me because, and just for people listening, KYC stands for Know Your Customer. And it's a really common thing you have to do in this space. Like anytime, just for like a lot of regulatory reasons, it's the best practice to KYC folks for things like grants programs and kind of anytime you're dealing with tokens, you're probably KYCing somebody, especially if it's a permission chain like this is right now. So I see why you're having to do it, but building a totally custom one, that's a huge effort. I've actually built integrated with providers multiple times to automate KYC for things like grant programs. They're checking OFAC databases. They're checking a whole bunch of different things to make sure that, it depends on the level of KYC you're trying to do, but, making sure you're not on a list of countries where you're just not allowed to do business, like North Korea and stuff. What is the process under the hood again? And what is running there in the app and how do people verify identity, especially this manual process, it sounds like with pioneers who are doing the work. How does it work? What are they looking into? What's automated, what's not? Just very curious to hear more about that.
Well, it starts as a typical KYC solution, what you would expect. So you pull your phone, you have to show liveness, turn your head, respond to certain prompts. You have to show your ID and the ID is captured and then AI is reading it. You have to fill out certain information, which is pretty standard stuff that all the KYC solutions do. We have a back end layer, which is processing all those things automatically as much as it can. And as expected, there are some cases where and certain questions that the AI has or is uncertain about, and those questions need to be answered. Every KYC solution has to answer them with humans. So what we're doing at Pi is that we reward existing selected trustworthy already KYC'd members of the Pi network to answer those questions. We also had to add an additional layer of security on this so that what they see is not the raw data of what someone updated. So for example, if someone were to want to verify the face of someone on an ID versus whatever we got from a selfie picture that they get, then our software is cutting out only the picture from the ID, is cutting out the picture from the selfie, putting the two together and asking a validator to say, are these two pictures the same person? Another use case, and there's multiple of them, it will be the last example I'll give, is that if you need to ask certain question about an ID to a human, the software is covering with black reduction boxes all the information on the ID, all the text that is not supposed to be seen. And it's also cutting out the picture. So when you're showing an ID, it's pretty much fully anonymized, having the picture is missing, the data is covered. It says California driving license. That is not covered. And then possibly the question is does this look like a real California driving license, for example? And then the specific question that a human needed to answer can be answered while trying to preserve privacy and security. Then after this whole process completes, we have to do all the compliance requirements, like you mentioned, OFAC and other things.
Yeah, it's packed into this one app that basically follow the guidelines of the law and regulations. This is not just a work that we do just for Pi Network. The whole community actually have this produce this large scale KYC to social network is actually a contribution from Pi Network from all of us, including pioneers, to the world. Because as the industry towards getting more and more into the compliance, having a large enough social network that is KYC make the world ready to plug in true Web3 tools or services more easily. It also facilitates more easier onboarding of future other chains or other blockchain or financial services or Web3 type of applications that has a financial aspect or element inside. This is something that why we need to actually build an in-house kind of solution, because it's important for our philosophy of accessibility, but also it actually create a great contribution. I mean, there was in Web 2, Facebook's innovation was using real identity, real name in the social network. And that breakthrough the last few decades, the fame and the boom of Facebook. The next phase for Web3 means ownership, right? People are being able to own. When it touches ownership, there is the need of KYC. That's why we're building this huge network, not just large, but actually more compliant and towards the future that easy to plug in for even other services.
That makes a ton of sense to me. And I agree with you. Like if you guys succeed in getting a high quality KYC done that other people trust, other networks, other people who might want to use interact with that network of people, then you've created something pretty valuable for sure. What other kinds of applications are going to run or are already running on Pi Network? Some chains are purpose built or better for other things than, they have unique things that they might be good at, whereas they might not be good at other things. Is it a general purpose L1, or do you think there are some applications that are more appealing to be built on top of the network than, say, something, other applications that might be a better fit somewhere else?
Any type of blockchain application that from other networks can also run on Pi. There's no restrictions there. We focus also on applications that traditionally have not been popular on blockchains. And I'm talking about applications that are very popular even in Web 2, the way that the world has been working until now. We had a couple of hackathons, and we have some programs inside Pi for people to collaborate and create apps. And we've had a few thousand developers engaged, producing hundreds of apps and tens of thousands of pioneers, giving them feedback on these ideas. So through these, they have started building applications of various kinds. Like, for example, one vertical is remote labor. One example is the KYC app that we build, but another example is apps that are similar to Fiverr or Upwork, where a pioneer can provide some work and in exchange get paid in Pi from someone else. And that work could be from something simple as creating a piece of art to something more complex than this.